Welcome back, everybody. This is Movies and Beyond. We have just seen all of Echo, all of it. Binged it. We're going to be doing full spoilers because it's all out. So, no point in dancing around it as I sing.
I see what you did there. There's a lot of dancing in that final episode.
Yeah, a lot of dancing. Just let me...
Full spoilers, obviously. So, for people who haven't seen the Netflix shows and Hawkeye
great
as
point,
well.
great point.
So, full on shebang spoilers here. If you're excited for the Daredevil stuff, there's a little bit to get excited about.
Yeah, so let's talk about the thing we want to talk about the most then. Daredevil. Fantastic what they did with him. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it shows me that Marvel know what we want from that character, at least.
Well, not necessarily. It's kind of like you made a good point when I think we got a couple episodes in, and you were saying like, oh, Daredevil came in, he served a purpose to the story.
Yeah. It
wasn't just like a cameo kind of thing, and yeah, it was badass to see him in action. Obviously, we obviously want to see him in action, and we finally fucking get to see him in action really in the MCU. But
yeah,
I think as well, Daredevil is half the character. Matt Murdock is the other side of that character.
Yeah.
And we got a little bit of that in No Way Home.
So it's like the juxtaposition of No Way Home. It's like,
yeah,
we just got Matt Murdock.
And then
we just get Daredevil and Echo. Obviously, She-Hulk, we got a bit of both. But yeah, this show started out really strong.
Yeah.
It did.
A lot of backtracking, I must admit. The first episode felt more of it felt like less than half an episode. It felt like more of just catching you up with what's going on, which I didn't mind. It was fine. It made the MCU feel a bit more connected, which is what it kind of desperately needs at the moment. So that was nice. But yeah, I guess if you haven't seen Hawkeye, this episode really catches you up on it. But go watch Hawkeye. It's decent. And,
you should have been watching it over Christmas. It's a nice Christmas rewatch.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah. So the first episode, it's like I said, it did start off pretty great. We started to get into the story. It didn't feel like anything dragged on.
I really like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Really like the first 3. The last 2 kind of, I wouldn't say dragged a bit, but kind of lost me a bit in the last 2.
Yeah, and especially that final episode was very what's going on here? Because I was a bit confused. I was like, I'm a little confused as to what's going on. The underlying thing with Echo is her powers, her, Native American heritage, and she's related to someone very important. I thought that was probably I don't want to say it in a bad way. It's no disrespect to Native Americans and culture, and their culture and stuff like that. It just didn't make any fucking sense. It was just kind of convenient. Oh, she has powers, and it's something like that. It wasn't any. It just felt a little bit weak. It felt like something you'd see in an animated kids show or even a film. I'd say that's probably the weakest thing about this show is the power thing.
Powers.
I would have been absolutely fine with her having no powers at all. I mean, she's a badass in her own right. Yeah. She went toe to toe with Daredevil. Yeah, she lost, but she held her own for a little bit. By a little bit, 20 seconds, which is more than a lot of the characters, but not the people that Daredevil fights anyways. So
and she's like, "Fuck off for a gun."
The ending, though. I'm going to say it didn't stick the landing. I'll say this, though.
I'd say it's like when you see them gymnasts do a flip and they kind of just stumble a little bit and and then they'll put their arms up
Yes, yeah. I had another way of describing it is Secret Invasion completely botched.
Missed the landing.
Well, I'd say they
landed on the face.
They threw a dart and
it went in the toe.
It went backwards. Right? They threw a dart, it went backwards, it went up, and then it went down, it went left and right, then right again, and it just, This, on the other hand, at least it didn't hit the bullseye, but I'd say it like hit the edge of the board. It didn't hit the wall. It didn't miss it. It just hit the edge of the board, like the very outer rim of the board. You know, just a bit of a metaphor there, I guess. So, yeah, the Kingpin stuff was really good. I'm glad we got quite a bit. And it finally broke the mold of, there's a secret villain here and there. I'm sick and tired of that. It did feel like a bit of a mini-series kind of thing. I feel like it could have been cut down a bit more.
Yeah, even though it was cut down already, it could have been... this could have possibly been turned into a film. But it wouldn't have made money.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. I liked it, though. I quite enjoyed
do you know what? Overall, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's a nice... It's refreshing, because if you've watched any of the Marvel Disney Plus shows... A lot of them have this really annoying issue of, like I said before, is the secret, and, you know, every episode just doesn't feel fulfilled. Like, I don't feel like I'm fulfilled in it. This...
We might have had that issue, though, if it were week to week.
Potentially, but I feel like I didn't have it as much in this kind of thing. I think the only time I would have felt that is when Kingpin shows up at the end of
episode 3.
Episode 3, yeah. I think if that happened and it was week to week, that's the only time I'd feel like, bastards.
And then he comes in the next week and just has dinner.
Yeah, yeah. So I like this style. This is a good thing. It's, you know, if you compare the Disney Plus shows that Star Wars have done, I think the one that stands out the most and does it the best, is the best Disney Plus show, in my opinion, is Andor. It feels very different to the other Disney Plus shows. Don't get me wrong, I love Mandalorian. Season 3 was the weakest one, though. Ahsoka, I'd say, was better than Season 3 Mandalorian, but it wasn't better than the first 2.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, this felt like the kind of Andor. It felt like a bit of a departure.
Yeah, if only it could have kept going.
Yeah, I don't feel like it was... Like I said, I don't like, you know... Andor is a very great show compared to the other Star Wars shows. But it felt that the big thing about it is it felt so different, and that's what I got from this. I'm not going to say it's better than WandaVision or something like that. You know, the other Disney Plus shows, I'm not saying it's better. I haven't really put it in a list yet in my head. But it definitely feels distinctively different compared to the other ones. It didn't feel like a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, which...
Not because of the TV...
Which the violence was there. It was there, but, you know, it's did what it did. Good shows do with violence. They don't make a big deal out of it, apart from at the beginning where it's like, viewer discretion advised, and we both was like, yeah, whatever, mate. Whatever. So I've seen some pretty hardcore shit. This should be alright.
Yeah, I think they only put that there because, like, maybe kids will go on and watch this, because it is on Disney Plus after all. It says Marvel Studios, you know.
Well, yeah, we finally got that new Marvel Spotlight banner at the beginning. So, yeah.
I'm still confused about that. I don't understand that whole thing.
It's so they can tell different stories.
Yeah, but they could have just done that under the Marvel Studios banner anyways. I mean, they did that with loads of things, films and, you know, shows alike.
But no, I think they make it very clear in the show as well that, no, the Netflix Daredevil is canon.
Oh, yeah. It feels like a very... Well, I'd say with the King... I say this feels like it continues a little bit off of Hawkeye, but when it comes to the Kingpin, it just feels like you've jumped from... Not even Hawkeye, it feels like you've just jumped from Daredevil to this. Like, you know... That's not to say Kingpin wasn't good in the Hawkeye show. He was. But this is literally the exact same Kingpin now as the one from the Netflix show. There was no weird twist or anything different about him. They didn't make him bigger. They didn't do anything different with him at all. He's the exact same. Down from literally having the trauma with the hammer. You see the hammer. You see the wall, the painting that he used to stare at from the Netflix show.
Which now we need to find a way of how this actually fits in now. So it's canon. All right, I'm a nerd. I want to know exactly what fits into what.
And we had a great theory. We had two little theories about why he's out and about now, because at the end of season 3, like Callum mentioned to me when we were watching the show, I wonder what the story is there. How come he's out and Daredevil's sort of, and Callum suggested, maybe they don't, maybe Kingpin isn't going to go after Foggy and Karen. And so that's why he's able to stay out of prison. But then I thought, I don't know about that. And then and it was only because I think it was the final episode, wasn't it?
He said, "I've lost someone I love too."
Yeah. But he didn't say it as like, I've lost Echo. He said it in the sense of like he's lost someone he, loved. And we didn't see Vanessa. We didn't hear anything about Vanessa.
But she's been recast for Born Again.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she is still alive, but I think
it could be flashbacks.
Yeah,
possibly.
It could be flashbacks, which I mean I'd be fine with. But I'd say if anything was, if there was a reason why he's out, and Daredevil isn't like allowing it, but the reason why he's out is because he doesn't have that thing there anymore. Daredevil was using to blackmail him, so to speak. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants because Vanessa's not around. So he don't need to hold anything back. He doesn't need to be worried about Daredevil going after Vanessa. So
you will not harm Karen Page or Foggy Nelson. Well, fuck, Vanessa's dead. Shit.
Yeah. I think that'll be a massive stick in the mud for Daredevil. We'll see anyways, we don't know. But the ending though, it was a little odd. I think it really suffered from like I said, the powers stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of everyone's got powers.
Yeah, it was a little strange seeing that grandma just push back.
The grandma had the Iron Fist.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels a bit odd to me. I feel like there could have been something better done with that. Maybe like an ancient relic that gives her these powers or something. Or just don't feature it at all. You don't need to.
She didn't need powers.
She didn't need to, no. I will say this though, I do appreciate the start of, I believe it was episode 3? With the callback to like when they had when it was like in film, and they'd shoot something and it'd say bang on the screen like an old fashioned black and white.
Yeah, like a silent movie.
Yeah, that's it, silent movie. Sorry, yeah, I really appreciated that. I thought that was great. It was almost like a callback to WandaVision a little bit, but that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Other than that, though, I'd say definitely watch it. If you're a fan of the tone of Daredevil, would you say... I got a question for you, because I know you've watched later seasons in, say, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and you didn't watch Jessica Jones.
I haven't watched Jessica Jones season 3.
Where does this stand now? Does it stand better than those shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
Not Jessica Jones season 1.
Well, yeah, I'd be the same on that. But I'm saying with like later seasons, does this feel a bit
This is definitely
better?
I think it's better than Luke Cage season 1. Because Luke Cage season 1, it's got that amazing first half and then kind of falls off. It's definitely better than Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Definitely better than Jessica Jones season 2. Yeah. Definitely better than Defenders. I'd say, do you know what? People might hate me for this. I'd even say better than Punisher season 2. I really like Punisher season 1. I'm not that hot on Punisher season 2. I feel like they took the character back again. It's like, alright, now, boom, sweet, is the Punisher. And then season 2, we start it again. Let's get him to become the Punisher again.
I did think that was weird. I did quite enjoy it when I watched it. I think I've seen that twice, season 2. I don't know why, but I've seen it. I believe I've seen it twice, and I enjoyed it. I get what you're saying. It reset the Punisher, which is a bit dumb, but the overall sort of like the flow of the show when you're watching it, I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I'd say for me personally, I think it's very different and distinctive compared to the other Disney Plus shows. I'll say that. Is it better than the other Disney Plus shows? Not necessarily. It does things better than the Disney Plus shows, though. Yeah. I'll say that.
But then falls into some of the same problems, like episode length, an
didn't mind
episode
it.
runtime as well.
See, I didn't mind it because every episode felt a little bit more whole. It didn't feel like where Daredevil felt like a whole episode was a story. But it definitely felt a bit more whole, and it carried the story along.
Yeah. Do you think now they are going to release Daredevil in a similar fashion?
Probably.
Or do you think, because it's going to be 18 episodes, do you think they're going to go 9 episodes and then wait like a month or something like that, and then 9 episodes You know, so it kind of builds up that people talking about it, and it's like coming back for the second half.
Well, I don't think they need to do that with Daredevil. I'll tell you why. Because you said, oh, it's to keep people talking about Daredevil.
Yeah.
People are still talking about Daredevil, and we've not had a season of it.
Since 2018.
Since 2018.
Yeah, so nearly 6 years.
Exactly. It doesn't need to do that. Like, it really doesn't.
Which is weird. When Daredevil comes out in January next year, Daredevil Season 1 came out in April of 2015. And Born Again will come out in 2025.
Yeah. Way to make me feel old. But
one thing I do want to mention, because I don't think we've mentioned it at all, Alakwa Cox. I feel like she was great in the role.
Oh, yeah, she was great. I can't wait to see her back again as Echo. Yeah.
She did well with what she would done. You know, obviously what she's overcome as well as an actress as well. You know, and the fact that she went and did her audition and she was the best for Hawkeye, but she was an amputee, and there's like, oh, we're making that fucking part of the character now because there's no one else who can play Echo apart from you. So...
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think she's awesome. Like, I'm genuinely excited to see her again. Just even if she pops up kind of like how Daredevil does, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's definitely gonna pop up again. And yeah, it was just she was great in it.
Another thing I want to say as well, you can tell.
Are we still?
Yeah, we're still here.
Sorry, it's a bit of technical
difficulties. You can tell Kingpin cares about Maya. In his own fucked up way, he cares.
Yeah. I'd say Kingpin, like I said, was just literally the Netflix version of Kingpin. He was literally, it's like you were ripped from that and plonked into this.
And I think we got enough of him in this as well for me to be happy with the character. As it's like, all right, they get the idea.
Yeah.
They get the idea. Because I think people weren't happy with the sample size we got in Hawkeye.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's the reason, that's one of the big issues of Disney Plus Marvel shows is, you know, who's the secret mystery villain? What's the secret thing that's happening?
Who left that semen stain on the floor?
Yeah. The family. How did you take the family kind of thing?
Because I loved Biscuits. I did like Biscuits. Whenever he was on screen, I was
really
laughing.
enjoyed Biscuits. I felt like he was a little bit wasted.
Yeah.
I felt like he could have been like, you know, alongside Echo, helping her out, kind of thing. But you know, Biscuits was great. He was a fun little character.
Her actual uncle was great as well, who owned the pawn shop.
Yes,
he was good.
Wasn't that
her grandfather?
The uncle is the one that owns the skate thing.
And he were all right as well.
He was fine.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Are we going to sit here and say we don't like the women? Is that what we're going to
do?
I liked Bonnie, actually. I can see where she was coming from.
Didn't
get enough of Bonnie, but you could tell she was still trying to be a good friend. But on the flip side of it is her grandma was a bitch until the end.
Yeah, it felt like she was just trying to save her own skin when she sat down on the table with Echo.
Yeah. And she's like, you abandoned... I can't even do something like that.
Stop it. You're going to tell the audience to fuck off. And
she's like, you abandoned me? Which she did.
Yeah, that's what I'm appreciative of. I liked that conversation because it was like, she's just really trying to save her own skin here. Like, I couldn't bear it. Like, don't give me that crap. I was a kid, like, you know, and slams the table and walks off. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you, Echo. I like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a dumb conversation. It actually had a bit of like oomph to it.
Another moment I really liked as well, though, is that her mum in the car crash used her healing powers. And
did she actually do that?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I must have missed it.
Yeah, and she actually saved her.
Yeah.
And took, must have taken all her life out of her to save Echo.
I feel like they could have done that a little bit better in the sense of with the grandma. That could have tied in with the grandma a little bit. And she didn't want to have anything to do with her granddaughter because she's the reason.
She reminded her of the dad.
Well, no. If I feel like in an ideal situation to make the grandma, this is just something I've gone off right here, right now, but when she's in the car crash, maybe like the paramedics arrive or the grandmother is the first one to see them before like the paramedics will get there, and she sees the mother and she's like, I'm going to save her, and then she saves Echo when she's little, and then the grandma has this weird resentment for her because it's like she saved, like her daughter saved her daughter, but she has like some resentment for her granddaughter then, if that makes sense. I feel like that would have helped play out the grandma's role a little bit and how she feels about it. I thought it was a bit odd that she was automatically like, oh no, she's going to be doing bad stuff here.
You two need to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very odd, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It like I said, it could have been improved. It could have been cut down.
Which is weird because I agree it could have been cut down, but I'm also like, but I could have done with more. You know what I mean?
I feel like they could have done something.
Put more substance in it.
Yeah. No. Overall, though, if you're a fan of like the Daredevil Netflix style of shows,
this will definitely give you a little buzz until you get born again. Yeah,
it's like I said, the ending isn't exactly the best thing ever. It leaves it a bit odd, but it definitely it's the post-credit scene is like, oh, that's
interesting.
Pretty cool. Yeah, with Kingpin.
He's running for mayor, which we've speculated on for months anyway, so
yeah,
this will be very interesting, and this will probably work into that Spider-Man 4 Civil War sort of thing.
There's one thing as well that, seeing Hawkeye again in the first episode,
stuff we've already seen, but connectivity,
but because we saw Daredevil, and after I saw Daredevil and the episode finished, I was like, oh, Callum, I see a missed opportunity here. We could have had Hawkeye's Ronan against Daredevil, because they were both active at that time, if I'm not mistaken. That would have been a great little, but it is what it is, I'd say probably Hawkeye would end up killing Daredevil. I don't think it's a fair match, to be honest. I think Daredevil would hold his own.
I think he would hold his own, but you're always going to find with two equal fighters, I'd say equal, but you'd always find with a person who's going to try and kill the other one, they're willing to do that little bit extra more. So, if he was trying to kill him, then yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he just see him as another crook. He's got no sense of, like, he doesn't care. Not sense, but he just doesn't care. This is Ronan, I mean.
And another thing, I like that Echo didn't beat Daredevil.
Yes.
She
went for a gun. Somehow she did her mystical power bullshit with Kingpin at the end, but...
Yeah, but I think even if she did beat him, what people need to seem to forget is Daredevil's a very capable fighter, but as soon as he comes up against someone else who's a capable fighter, he does kind of get his ass kicked a little bit, but it's his willingness and his determinedness to get back up and keep fighting, and which wins him a fight.
Most of the time when let's be real here, most of the time when Daredevil's fighting someone, he's usually fighting someone that wants to kill him.
Yeah, and he's out of breath afterwards.
Yeah.
Like that hallway fight, which he'd been fucking injured in as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, what would you rate the show out of 10?
I'd give it a 7.
A 7? Do you know what? I'm right with you on that one. I would give it a 7 as well. This seems to me like, I've said, Marvel, to me, have been winding up. And I could be wrong, but to me now, we're back up on that trajectory going up, hopefully.
I don't want to say this in a bad way and disrespect Echo and the guys who made this, but it feels like a bit of a tester for Disney in doing that style of show, what Netflix did and why it was so successful before. It definitely broke out of the Disney Plus mold. Doesn't mean it's better, but it definitely is different.
And there's no wrong with trying something new.
Yeah.
And, this is... My expectations for this, even though we were seeing Daredevil, and even with reviews coming out, my expectations for this was very low, because all we were hearing for a year is, this show's shocking. It's in shambles, and they're reworking it to make something good. But do you know what? They reworked it, and they did make something good.
At the very least, Echo, she were great. I think... I'm going to sound a bit bad here, but I feel like Kingpin did carry the show, but it's kind of to be expected a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
But the great thing about this is that it didn't do what a lot of Disney Plus shows do. It's like, oh, I show up, I'm a big cameo. You know, I feel like the only time that really ever happened was with, like, the Hulk in She-Hulk. He actually had, like, a purpose to it. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like it was written in that well, to be honest. This, on the other hand, with Kingpin, with Daredevil, with the limited time that he had on the screen, it fitted it perfectly. It served the purpose flawlessly, and yeah,
but people won't like it because Matt Murdock had a little bit of fun with it when he said, "I've been waiting here all night, staking him out, and you've had to come and ruin it." That's Matt Murdock is that sort of person. It's just in Netflix shows you're catching him at like the worst moments in his life, where he's like, "Fucking hell, my whole world's crumbling around me." So yeah, but no, I'd definitely say a 7. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Go watch it. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. Kingpin's great.
And it's all out now. So yeah, give it a watch. So yeah.
No video, I don't think, today.
No, we'll save it all up. We'll do it all tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We're Movies and Beyond. 100 subscribers by the end of the month.
I should have brought the beans up.
Should have brought the beans. I did a post on the channel. You'll see the beans.
Yeah, that's the beans you'll get. Signed by us.
If you want Morrison's own beans, but I tell you what Morrison's own beans and sausages are the best beans and sausages.
Yeah, I've had Heinz, which are like the, you know, for you guys who aren't UK here, Heinz do like the best beans, but they do the worst beans and sausage.
Yeah.
Whereas Morrison's
do pretty good beans and sausages. Good. Right, anyway, like, subscribe, share, show us to your mother, all that fun stuff, and we will see you guys tomorrow.